Hello, friends, family, total strangers. The opening footage was from Steamboat, Colorado. After Utah, I went and visited a couple of friends of mine in Steamboat, which was awesome. It was great seeing them. Really good friends of mine. And then this is where the tale starts to turn. I had a great trip through Utah and a great visit with my friends in Steamboat. And then, in all of my brilliant wisdom, I decided that me and Jax were going to take a cross-country 8-day road trip to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to visit Jax's mom, who's working out there for the summer, and then visit my parents in Pensacola. So, going out and visiting them, that part of the plan was just fine. It was the 8-day scenic trip to get there, which was the horrible idea. Now, there is a lot of beautiful places along the way, and we definitely went to them. But you're going to hear a lot of words repeated during the course of this video. And if you want to make a drinking game out of it, every time I say hot or buggy, you will not be able to stand at the end of the video. Yeah, it was intense. It should have been like a 2-day shot across the country is the way we should have done it. That's not what we did, though. We did do that coming back, so I'll talk about this place where I am now in the next video. So I am back out west. Thank goodness. So it didn't help that it was in the middle of this big heat wave. So yeah, we left Steamboat and decided to make our first camp in Wyoming. In between Laramie and Cheyenne, there's a Vidavoo recreation area. Vidavoo is how it's spelled. And it's a beautiful place. That's where the mosquitoes started, though. It's a beautiful place. So let me just show you. I didn't take a whole lot of footage, but let me show you what I got in Vidavoo. It's a beautiful spot. If you're in between, if you're traveling I-80, it's in between Laramie and Cheyenne, and it's an absolutely beautiful area. Definitely could be a national monument, but it's just a recreation area. It does cost to get in unless you have a park pass, which I did, but there is a free dispersed camping area that you don't have to pay to get into, which we also camped at. So let me show you that. Okay, so Vidavoo was beautiful. It was pretty buggy, and Jax wasn't into it at all because of all the bugs, all the mosquitoes. But it's kind of from this point that things start to degenerate. You know, I like to do positive videos, and there was definitely lots of positive things on the trip. But don't travel through Kansas in July, is the moral of the story. Kansas is beautiful. I actually really like Kansas. But yeah, let's get right to it. Our first stop was St. Francis, Kansas, which had a city park. And there's a little hiking trail you can do in town. So let me show you that. This is the city park in St. Francis, Kansas. And Yeah, it's free to camp here. They encourage it for travelers coming through, and there are showers. So free campground with showers. It also has frisbee golf if you're into such a thing, and water, and yeah, it's pretty sweet little spot. Pretty buggy though. The end of June, beginning of July is not a great time to be in Kansas, as it turns out. Which I kind of figured, but that's where my voyage has sent me. St. Francis also has this little hiking trail right in town. It goes right along the river, so pretty nice. Just good little pleasant stopover. It is hot though, and buggy. Hot and buggy. Okay, so from St. Francis, we decided to go to Monument Rocks, which is this actually really cool spot in western Kansas. There's no camping there, so it was a drive-through. It's actually a private property, but they allow people to visit it. So we went to Monument Rocks, which is super cool. So I will show you that right now. So this is Monument Rocks, pretty cool, out here in the middle of nowhere in Kansas, kind of central western Kansas. Yeah, gorgeous. Cool, I guess they're chalk formations that have just been weathered down. Pretty neat. So after Monument Rocks, which is definitely, if you're driving through Kansas, go out of your way, go there. It's super cool, really beautiful. After Monument Rocks, we continued driving east, and we stayed at our first state fishing lake. So as far as driving across the country, Kansas is great because of all the state fishing lakes. So they have all these lakes all throughout the country, or all throughout the state, and they have free camping at most of them. There's a few that are just, that don't have camping, but most of them have camping and it's free. And so the amount of free camping in Kansas is awesome. Besides a lot of the towns have city parks that have a free place to camp and showers and all that. I will say those city parks are a little bit sketchy. I've stayed at two, and both of them were a little bit sketchy, and the bathrooms were kind of nasty, but they had showers. So hey, sometimes you just got to do it. But I would definitely recommend the state fishing lakes. So the first one we stayed at was Goodman State Fishing Lake, which was beautiful. It was super hot. But there was a 30-mile-an-hour wind blowing the whole time, pretty much. So at least that kept it reasonable. And it was still, I think, about 3,000 feet in elevation, so it wasn't super humid yet. So yeah, let me show you Goodman Lake. I don't know if these are showing up on camera, but there's fireflies out tonight. Haven't seen those in a long time. Pretty cool. So after Goodman Lake, it was really cool seeing the fireflies. We went to Chase State Fishing Lake, which is in eastern Kansas. And this is when we go down in elevation. And the humidity starts. And actually, Yeah, this is when things really start getting real. Like it's beautiful. This area of Kansas is beautiful. Chase State Fishing Lake, if you're just going to stop at one in Kansas, is the one to do. I'm going to show you. There's a waterfall there. The lake is beautiful. You're a 15-minute drive from Tallgrass Prairie National Preserve, so it is the one to do. But this is where it really starts to get real. It was so hot, so humid. We ended up in the middle of the day just sitting in the car and idling with the air conditioner on for like 4 hours because it was so hot. Like, I've never done that before. I've never just sat somewhere and idled with the air conditioner on, but I've done it several times since. And this was the one that broke us. Like, it was intense, but beautiful. So let me show you around. I managed to coax Jax back out of the van to join me eating a pig ear. Good morning. This is Chase Falls. Beautiful. Hot. It's very hot. I wish I had my swimsuit on. So when we left Chase State Fishing Lake, we went to Tallgrass Prairie in the morning to do a hike because I thought, starting at 7 a.m., we can get a hike in and it won't be too bad. Let me show you that footage now. This is the schoolhouse. Let's see if we can get in there. We were trying to beat the heat by getting out here at 7 in the morning, but it didn't work, as you can tell from all the sweat pouring off of me. It's beautiful, but boy, it's hot. I don't think Jax is into this trail too much. It's pretty hot and buggy. So there is a buffalo herd as well here, which I don't think we're going to see today. It's in a different part of the park. But yeah, pretty cool. This is actually really close to Chase Lake too. This is only a 15-minute drive, so Chase Lake is a great base point. Besides having the falls there and the lake there, you're also a 15-minute drive from the National Preserve here. And let me reiterate the fact that it's like 7:30 in the morning and I'm pouring buckets of sweat. Late June, early July is probably not the ideal time to come to Kansas. So after Tallgrass Prairie, we got back on the road and we intended to camp at Montgomery State Fishing Lake, which is down near Independence, Kansas. So this is southeast Kansas. And there's actually a backpacking trail, a national scenic trail, which looks beautiful from all the videos. And I planned on doing a section of it, but it was just so hot and humid. It's like, no, we can't really do the hike, but we'll camp at this fishing lake. And we were there for about an hour, and me and Jax were both just absolutely miserable. So at this point, we had a total redirect. We were about a 4-hour drive at this point from maybe 4.5 hours from the Talamina Scenic Highway, and there's a campground on it. This is in Oklahoma, near the Arkansas border, called the Winding Stair Campground, and it's about 2,000 feet in elevation, as opposed to this, which was like 400 feet and super humid and everything. So we drove to Oklahoma, and it's up in the mountains. It's 2,000 feet in elevation. There's always an intense wind coming through there at this campground. The campground, it is a paid campground, but it's $5 a night. So we went there. We blew off southeast Kansas and went to Oklahoma in the mountains with a breeze. And it was much better. I didn't take too much footage from the campsite, unfortunately, because I had some other issues. But I will show you what little I got. There was an overview point just like 100 feet from my campsite. So like a picnic area and overview. So let me show you that. So here's our map of Kansas. St. Francis is right up here in the corner somewhere. Where'd it go? Right there. And then Monument Rocks is right there. Goodman Lake is right there. And then we go across the state to the Chase State Fishing Lake. And Tallgrass Prairie are right there. And then down here, I did not show any footage, but that's where we tried to camp, and it was just miserable. And then we went south of that into Oklahoma. Yeah, sorry it's been so long since I've made a video. I know, I think the last video I released was almost a month ago. I've just been busy visiting friends and family, so I just haven't really had the time to do a video. So, and this video was going to take a certain amount of mental energy that I wasn't ready to put in. I wasn't ready to put it in, but so I'm back, and I will be doing videos regularly again. So at this point we still had 4 more days before we could be in Baton Rouge, because Jax's mom couldn't take us until the 4th of July. So we ended up just camping at this place in Oklahoma for 3 nights. And it's a beautiful spot, but it was really buggy, and I don't know where the bed bugs came from. I don't know if we picked them up in Kansas or if we got them here in Oklahoma or there in Oklahoma, but this is where it all really went wrong. So in Oklahoma, the weather was much better. I mean, at least there was a breeze and it wasn't as hot, but it was super buggy and there were ticks everywhere. We went for a couple hikes and just was covered in ticks. They were all on the outside on my clothes, and got them off. And then I think on the 3rd day, I found 2 ticks attached to me, so I had to remove those. Also on the 3rd day, I had been getting a couple of bites, and I didn't know what was going on, and I figured out on the 3rd day that it was bed bugs. I'd gotten bed bugs somewhere, which is a complete nightmare if you know anything about bed bugs. Just the 3rd day, I had bites all over my legs and stuff, and terrible. So bed bugs. And then that night, so I pulled 2 ticks off of me, realized I had bed bugs, and then that night I got stung in the face by a bee. So things had just totally degenerated. And don't travel slow through the Midwest in July. Just get where you're going. It was... Yeah, that's my story. And then I did spend 1 night at a rest area in Louisiana before we got to, before we got to Baton Rouge, and it wasn't too bad. Like there's some rain that came through and kept it a little cooler, and it was tolerable. But yeah, and then the whole time we were in the South, we were just going from air conditioning to air conditioning, so it didn't really have to go outside much. So yeah, it just feels so great to be back in the West. But I'll save the journey back for the next video. But yeah, this is just about the trip to the South. Not my not my best trip ever. So yeah, that's my video. Sorry it wasn't a little more upbeat. It was not. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Kansas was beautiful. There's beautiful places in Kansas. It is worth driving through in some other month. It has beautiful spots and it has great free camping. So, Oklahoma's kind of a desert of free camping, and Nebraska's not that much better. So Kansas, if you're traveling across country, Kansas is a great state to go through because of all those state fishing lakes. But just don't do it in July. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, all the fun stuff.